And yeah, we're starting the recording. And so,
just how'd you do last week on your commitments of what you want to get accomplished?
who wants to start? I'll start. I didn't do well. I said I was going to do a health assessment, and there you are, Lorraine. And I got three-way health assessments done with a couple of coaches, or not health assessment, I said health coach explorers. I got a couple of those done with coaches on our team, but I did not do it personally. So I let the convention week slip out of my fingers from that. How'd everybody else do with your commitments? And you want to tilt your camera down a little bit?
Hang on a sec. I will in just a second. I'm kind of getting prepared here.
Okay. So Tammy, do you want to start?
Yeah, I jumped on the Wednesday Zoom with this group, and one of the things I talked about with Ann and I getting together to do our 50 goals on Thursday, and that was really good. But it's hard to think about 50 goals and dreams, but it was a really good exercise, so that was really good. And then I'm definitely reaching out more, starting more conversations and being more visual on Facebook with me. So that's a step up for me to do that. But just from the convention last weekend, I'm seeing more people are liking our posts because it's us, right? Living out loud.
That's awesome.
So that feels good.
How about you, Lorraine?
I feel like I had like 3 or 4 days where I just could do nothing. And I almost felt like I was underwater and everything was sort of coming at me at one time. So I don't think I probably, I know I didn't spend as much time on my business as other things. So I feel like I'm just kind of coming back up again for air. And I made my map, which I didn't do by the end of the month, but I did it today, and I've got my goals for the month and what do I need to actually do to get to those goals. So I've got that defined, and I feel like, okay, now I can breathe again.
Excellent. Well, you know what? Getting all that information into your head and getting your head stuff straight is a really important part of all of our growth. And I think that's just as important as what we perceive of as action. That is an action. Because if your head, just like before you start a health program, if your head isn't in the game, then you don't follow through, right? And so I think that's okay. I mean, I'm sorry you felt underwater, but I think it's okay that you had to take a little bit of time to kind of let things settle out.
Right.
And so that's good. Hey, Dave. Hey, Patty. Who wants to go next with how they were with their goals before this week? You're accountable.
I will.
Great.
So my goal was just to be more consistent with the Facebook posting and conversations. And I wouldn't say I hit my goal every day, but I definitely stepped it up and was much more consistent. I did not do a Facebook Live yet, so I still need to do that.
Awesome.
Hi, sorry guys, the dogs were barking here. So I didn't get to go to Orlando, but I'm excited to hear what all of you are bringing back to share with us. And I did go back this morning and watch some of the Zoom calls that I've missed. So I appreciate them being recorded. Thank you guys. And this week I did sign up a new client, a friend of mine that's in Alabama. And also Cynthia and I did a call together, a health assessment for my goddaughter Mackenzie in Montana that went really well. So I think I really learned some things that I was probably not doing correctly to get to people's whys big enough, making it more about the food instead of about the emotional part of why they want to lose weight. So that was an eye-opener for me, for sure.
Awesome. Great win. Shannon.
I actually reconnected with my clients and some of my past clients, which has been kind of my goal for the last couple of weeks, and really kind of focused on the new transformational system and encourage them to watch the webinar on Wednesday night. And now I have the commitment to follow up with them and get them to order their transformational system so that we can work it together. And that was my messaging, to have people talk to people about working it together.
Fantastic.
And the reason I want to do that is because I need to kickstart myself back into my own health. So I need to I'm kind of looking at it as starting over.
Awesome. Nancy.
Well, I recommitted to being consistent with the 3, 3, and 3, which is beginning to finally be a routine or a habit, which is good. Not having to stress about not having done it at 9 o'clock at night when I get home from work. And then a new goal, and Cindy was helpful with me this week, is to work on going back through my list of all my clients ever, and thinking about which one of those might be a good coach prospect or team member, and revisiting that. So I'm going to work on that some this weekend. I do have to work this weekend, but sometimes I have downtime to do that.
Awesome. Dave. Are you muted or are you being silly? We messed you up. Do it again.
Okay.
There. Now we can hear you.
Okay. I came in a couple minutes late. What's the exact question?
We're asking, you know how every week we say what our accountability will be for the next week? Were you able to do what you said you wanted to do?
Yes, absolutely. We committed to doing 30 minutes a day for the business. And I know that's, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So we're starting off with 30 minutes a day. Doesn't matter how hard we work or what time it is. We're spending 30 minutes. So we got our map completed. We're reorganizing. We're setting up our list again of people to call. I know, like you showed us on the back of your map, you have everybody written down. And when I showed you my maps, I had that done, and then it kind of went off and out of the way. We're going to restart that again. That way you have when you turn your map over, you have everybody you want to call and everybody you contact.
It's getting that head stuff in order so that the action doesn't take as much time.
Exactly.
Like you said, 10 minutes of organizing your brain, 2 minutes every morning of kind of organizing your brain can make your activity so much more focused and not be spinning. So that's excellent. And I also want to say, I love that because the win is the behavior. We all have goals, but we can't really control outcomes. We can only control us. But we know that our win is always our action. So it's like if you're on program, the win is not the number on the scale, because sometimes you have great action and the scale doesn't budge and we get all in our heads. It's the same thing with coaching. I wanted to bring on a coach and 5 clients and I only have 2 that signed up. Did you do the action? If you did the action, you've planted the seed, you love them, and you'll continue, and it will happen. Just like the scale will follow when it wants to. But you can go to bed feeling good about yourself because you did the work. And so I like that. And did we miss anybody? Is everybody did? Okay, so we've got our speakers. No, I don't know they are.
So we're just mostly talking about those who had not shared on Wednesday. What was your takeaways from the convention? What would you like to, as you think about that? Hey, kid. So what did you? What else? What would you like to talk about or share? One of the things I came up with was on conversations. We're always trying to just have relationships, and how do you come up with other things to ask about the other person? And that forward family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Asking those things about that other person and finding out more about them during their conversation is give me a great structured way to think about my route questions for them.
I love that too, because remember how they always say, don't be weird? you think of these relationships just like if you went to a party. It would be weird to walk up and say, I'm a health coach and I'm helping people and, you know, blah, 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 blah. You wouldn't do that. And we don't do that on Facebook either. You know, when we're talking about those messages, forward is a great way to go. You know, ask about their family, ask about their work, ask about what they're doing for fun this summer or what they like to do, and ask for what their dreams are. That's relationship building, conversation starting, and a great way to do it. I had a really weird aha, and I don't know if it will speak to anybody else, but I'm going to share it because it made a big difference in my head. I've got lots of fears, and fear holds me back. And one of the things that I don't even remember who it was, we probably all heard it too, but it resonated with me, was instead of saying obstacle, because we're always being told, you know, the obstacle is the way, run towards your obstacle, you know, blah, 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 blah. And somehow that word for me gives me like a complete, it's like overwhelmed to my brain. It's like, it's too much. It's an obstacle. I can't do it. I can't go there. And somebody said, it's not an obstacle, it's a hurdle. And that image to me just kind of let me relax through it. It's like, oh, I can deal with hurdles. You know, it takes a little more work. It takes a little running harder and faster, but it feels, yeah, you can get over that and you can do that. And so that was just a little mind shift I had, was simply a word. And on boot camp, every time they said the word obstacle, I wrote down hurdle. What were your takeaways?
I'll go.
Please.
I like that the company announced that it's going to have now a arm that is giving to the community. There's going to be a specific week in September that they're going to highlight that we can all participate in locally in our own community. And the company is going to, in specific cities, have reach outs and giving time for philanthropy to underserved kids' schools and children, teaching them the habits of health so that they can begin early and don't grow into obese or have less chance of growing into obese adults. So I thought that was awesome. Great new step for the company, and certainly something that we can share that doesn't seem like it's trying to sell somebody program, but share just about the awesomeness of the mission of the company.
Yes, I love that. What other takeaways?
I think it's the right one.
I'll go. Corey Baker was amazing. And when he was talking, one of the things I wrote down was the aim, awaken the intrinsic motivation. And he said, there is something you want on the other side of your fear. So that was really huge for me. I actually wrote it on a Post-it note and have it in my part of my morning routine when I'm getting ready for work. Because I try to figure out what I'm afraid of for the day, and I just go through it. So I kind of psych myself out. And then Cynthia, you've been doing the book Atomic Habits.
Yes.
I actually did a presentation on Thursday to my team on that book.
Great.
And what it did for me is it made me realize that, and we hear this in so many different ways, and sometimes we hear it at just the right time, but that book talks about what you were just talking about. The steps are the win. The process is the win, not the goal. And that is a huge mind shift for me, because I always set these enormous goals, and now I'm just going to focus on the steps.
That is a huge breakthrough.
Oh, yes.
Amen, sister. That's awesome.
And I have to get you my map.
And I hope you shared that with your team, because I think that would be a huge breakthrough for everybody, because we all do that. You know, and then we get disappointed, just like the number on the scale, you know?
Yeah.
So, sweet. Tammy, do you have any takeaways from convention?
Yeah, it was because I'm in the corporate world. In first convention, seeing Dr. A get emotional on helping people and talking about the kids, the kids school luncheon program. That was a win for me, that it's not about the money for him, it's about helping the mission, helping people, how it would be for us, helping people, helping our families. It's about the relationships. It's not about the money like corporate does. The corporate world is, what can you do for me? Where this is, what can we do for others? And then by helping others, then we help our families at the same time. But just having him get emotional like that was just, it's not the corporate world. He's in it to help.
And that's also a big lesson to me, because I really have trouble being totally walls down, authentic. I hate to cry, certainly to cry for other people, but that's absolute truth. When you can let your personal guard down enough to be so authentic that you don't care that you're a weepy guy in front of 11,500 people. What a lesson to all of us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anne, Lorraine, Dave, anybody?
Yeah, I will go next. For me, I think there were lots of takeaways, and I agree with a lot of the ones that have been mentioned. But one that sort of stuck with me was something that I knew I was doing wrong when doing my health assessments. That's when people get to something that may be tough for them to talk about, or I resonate with what they're saying. Like jumping into that conversation during a health assessment while they're going through their whys. So when Jamil did his presentation on Saturday and talked about the meeting with the woman at the memorial service and how she shared all of that information and shared very little about himself, like I knew I would not do that. I would want her to feel better so much that I put my own story into it. So that was a big takeaway, because I know I've been doing that, and I know I need to stop and just let people get it out and be okay with the silence. And I did buy the book, not that I've read the book, but he suggested a couple of resources. So it's like so skinny, something really simple. It's called Skill with People. So I am going to go through this book because I'm an introvert and I'm not that great with people. So I thought this might be actually helpful for skill building. So that was a big takeaway.
Perfect. Yeah, it's my list to get book to get. So, yeah. Awesome. Yay. Do you guys, Dave and Kim, do you want to share anything? Or you
Oh yeah, we talked Wednesday night, and part of our 30 minutes is making sure that we're going to be on the calls now. So we want to be on, here on both of them. But my first takeaway was anyone can do this business. You don't have to go out and handpick the people you think should be in the business per se. You can have anybody can get in this business. Anybody can do it. The second thing is, it's not just a weight loss program. It is a business opportunity. And, like I shared Wednesday, we were looking at it as only getting people healthy. We were not looking for those coaches per se. We were just, like I said, looking for people who needed to get healthy and we could help. And my biggest one was the only way to fail this business is to quit. So that was mine, Kim.
I can't remember what I said the other night, but I know that anything is possible. I was kind of going through the notes that I made during our convention, and I liked what Lorraine was saying about jumping in and talking when we should be listening. One of the things was it's not about us. We need to really listen, be good listeners instead of, jumping in. I really like that too. I know one of the things somebody said was set your intentions, wake up thinking everyone that crosses your path that day, that you could be a life changer for them. Let me say, I took a lot of notes. that I thought there was so much good stuff. And action kills fear. You know, I'm always afraid to, you know, make a move or say something, and it says that an action kills the fear that you have. And a true decision is measured by the next action that you make. So,
I love those takeaways and the mind shift. You know, somebody said something to what you said. You said, really, when we start looking for health coaches, you know, we tend to bring on quality people because you don't look at someone who's just a total mess in their head and downers and all that stuff, right? And every health coach is a client of their coach. So you're really double doing it, because whether they need help or not, they're going to at least need to do a week of program so that they're not thinking of themselves as a salesperson, you know. So that's great. And all the things Kim said, I just want to say amen. They're great takeaways. Anne, did you have some?
I had a bunch, but I'll just pick a couple. One was with the new Habits of Health transformational system, when Dr. A talked about our role as coaches is to really empower people to be their own guide. For me, but kind of a relief too. Take some of the pressure, and the app's going to be awesome. So that was one thing. And then another thing was also from Corey Baker. And this was like a mindset shift for me. But at the end, when he was trying to really motivate people, he said that if you're here at this convention, there's some tiny part of you that believes that you could be up here and really successful at this. So there's some small part, maybe it's not a huge part, but there's a small part that you think you can do this, and that's why you're here. So I was like, yeah, that's right. So that was good for me to hear.
Oh, I love that. And you know what? I know that all of you guys have at least that spark inside, that little spark. And I hope that all of us, by doing these, you know, groups together and coming together for events when we can, are kind of going,
yeah,
breathing a little bit of air into that spark, because I really do believe that we're better together.
Communities.
And speaking of which, we're going to be talking to some of you about possible teaming up.
So what we're talking about is each of you have different places that you're at, different goals, and if we can team up people together who have similar goals, then you have that kind of peer support and peer pressure, those kind of things. So when we talk to you individually and seeing if that's something that you want to do, it's more where you want to be more than anything. If you feel like it's would be beneficial to you. And so we're going to be talking soon and then doing that. And then what Cynthia and I will be doing is just stepping in and answering questions. But it'll be mostly that group, setting the agenda, setting the time, setting those kind of things.
You know, like just being there to blow a little bit of life into everyone's spark.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this is what I did that I found really helpful, or this didn't work very well. You know, you guys have any suggestions or whatever? Because I think what you notice from a convention is a lot of it was nothing new to you. You know, you've heard all this stuff on boot camp, you've known it, but somehow hearing a different voice speak it into you awakens you. And I think that was one of the thoughts about the little individual groups of, you know, maybe 3-4 coaches that are going for the same goals. You might be able to speak into each other and help rise, but it's totally a volunteer army. If it's just like one more thing on your list, do not worry about it at all. Okay. And so now I think it's time to do our accountability goals for next week. Have you thought about what you want to work on this week so that you can follow up next week and tell us what your activity was?
I'll go.
Okay.
I'm going to continue to work on identifying coaching qualities and coach.
Oh, we just lost you, Nancy. Coaching qualities.
And potential coaches from my client list.
Okay.
So That's probably going to take me most of the week. And then Cindy, is that A plus Q equals A plus I equals Q or whatever? Is that on Simple Systems?
I believe it is, and if it isn't, let me know and I'll find it for you.
Okay, good. Yeah, I need to find that today. Okay, that's it. That's good for me.
And I don't know the best way to find it. It might, yeah. I'll look for it too. Okay, who else?
Okay.
This is Patty. I'll go next. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to be gone Thursday through Sunday. I'm actually going to Rapid City, South Dakota, and Sturgis. So that's going to be an interesting time for me. But between Sunday and Wednesday, my goal is to follow up with about 10 people that I have really need to connect more with. Follow up with some people that I've done health assessments with and see if they're more ready to get started. And definitely working with coaching the clients that I have already.
Awesome. That's an excellent one.
And I have to jump in the shower now and get ready to go to a wedding today. So you guys have a great day. Great weekend. Thanks, you guys.
Have fun.
Thanks, you guys.
Bye.
Who else has their goal?
I'll go.
Yes.
My first goal today, after this call, is to get you my map. But I'm going to intentionally put my 100 list together and actually contact every single person on that list. And I am going to commit 1 hour every day to my business on top of the trainings and the calls and all that kind of thing. I'm really committed to get this going. So starting 100 conversations for my 100s list and figuring out my map
Huge
and
step.
leveling up this month.
Who's next?
I'll go. I am going to do 30 minutes per day, which is every day posting on my Facebook page, getting time in, and really working my hundreds list. I usually do great at starting the first week and then kind of drop off. So this will be my first week of trying to get through at least a third of my hundreds list, but 30 minutes per day consistently.
Awesome.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I'll go. So one is to do my map and get that to you guys, my team, to order the new Habits of Health transformation system. So I have that when my clients start getting it and I'm not in the dark. And then I saw a video from the last boot camp and it was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So that's what I was working on, but it's 2 posts. Well, anyway, you guys can watch the video, but it's more conversations. So 10 conversations a day, which is a step up for me. More posts, more stories. So that's my commitment.
Awesome.
Right.
Tammy, did we get you?
I'm doing the same, but I have to do my map. And then after the Live Up Boot Camp today, get that calendar written down. Get the rocks in my calendar. And then I'm doing the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 as well. And then next Tuesday, Chris and Ann and I are getting together to go over more goals together. And since Chris wasn't at convention, to work with her to let her know where we want to go. We want to grow. I want to work on all the like the level up, work on each thing. It was just very good as far as making it happen. Anything that I can qualify for, I want to do it. So I got to get those action steps.
Awesome.
Awesome. I'm going to commit to those 10, and I'm starting with my health. And so I will let you know.
So yeah, Dave Kidd already talked on Wednesday, so we're going to get the Wednesday started. And just for me, it's like 3x3x3. You know, 2, 4, 6, 8. You know, just kind of what I can do with all this going on. So, yay! Thank you, folks.
Thank you very much. Have a great week. We will connect soon.
You too.
And Shannon, we can mentor a little bit right after this.
Awesome. Thanks. Talk to you guys soon.
Great. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.